Hello, everybody. My name is Arvil Ragland, and welcome to Arvil'sArk. Hey, just wanted to point out something kind of neat I saw today. When I was looking, Donald Trump signed several of his posts through Q as 41020. So I just kind of went and looked up what my initials were, and they come out to be 11918. So on January 19th, 2018, I thought I was going to kind of hold this video back, but this because I feel it's the most important thing I can possibly tell you. But I thought I'd do it on my day. Okay, so here we go. As I told you in my previous video, I have been a part of the secret space program, and that being part of that program, at least in the part I served in, included being taken out of your body and put into cloned bodies over and over and over again. It's kind of like I don't know if we're working for the aliens or if that's something that the military has designed, but it has been happening for a long time. But through that process, over and over and over again, of being yanked out of my body and put into a different body, one thing you come to realize very quickly is that the real part of you is your consciousness, is this part that can leave. It's not the physical form that you find yourself trapped in at the moment. Okay? So that's important. That's the crux of what I'm about to tell you. What I'm about to do, or going to attempt to do, is completely destroy about 10,000 years of religious dogma and tell you why, why we're in this predicament that we believe this faith story. Faith is a very dangerous thing. You can have faith in something, but if it is not true, your faith will not make it true. As an example, when you were very young, you were told that there was a Santa Claus. There was an Easter bunny. There were all these things, and you were told by your parents. I mean, why wouldn't you believe that? And why wouldn't you have faith in it? Because it came from somebody you believed in. And then, when you grow up, you find out it was all bull. Okay? But the faith you had as a child did not make Santa Clauses spring into life. It didn't make Easter bunnies spring into life. Okay? So faith is kind of a waste of time, because if you're not putting your faith in something real, you are literally wasting your time. Faith does not create things. Thought can, but faith in something that is a lie from the beginning will not make that lie become real. Okay, so right now, for those who have ears to hear, listen to this message. The one thing I have learned through my travels, through my little out-of-body experiences, is that the creator of the universe is not mad at you. Okay? God is not mad. Whatever you want to call this force, this force that we all came from, God, Allah, Yeshua, whatever you want to call this force, it is not mad at you. I like to call it the first cause of the universe. I think that's something like Edgar Cayce called it. We all spring from this. We all are a part of this, but it is not mad at us. It does not expect praising. It does not expect anything from us. What it did is it placed us here and it gave us free will. It gave us a choice. Free will is the one thing that the Creator gave us, and I'm going to prove that to you here right now. Okay, eternity. Okay, first of all, think about this. Religion tells you that you need to work to get to heaven. That's a complete and total lie. Okay, you are in eternity right now. What we are doing right now is what eternal beings do with eternity. All right? Do you understand this? Now, so why do we do this? Why do we come to a place where our spirit memory is blocked off? Well, I mean, eternity is a long, long time. Now, if you had all the time in the world to do everything you wanted to do, eat your favorite cake, read your favorite book, go to your favorite place, after a couple 100,000 years of that, it would probably get old, wouldn't it? So look at us here. Here we are in a place where we're surrounded by doubt. Everybody, we're put in these little bodies that shut off our spirit memory. These bodies are sensory perception devices. That's what they do. Now look what they do. Through all the systems of the body, they translate uh, touch, taste, feel, smell. And what do they turn that into? They turn that into thought. Okay? And so thought is the language of your spirit, is the language of what you really are made of. You are a thought being, and the first creator of the universe is the ultimate source of thought that we are all a part of. Okay? It's not mad at us. What we should be thankful for every day, and going to church and praising God for, is this beautiful gift that he gave us that has made life, has made eternity fun again. It's a pretty cool tool. But this is kind of I'm kind of breaking the prime directive here. The place you're here to get away from eternity for a while, to put that memory behind you and make everything new again. So I think I'm being allowed to tell you this, to break the prime directive, by telling you that you are a thought being, that you are already in heaven, you are already a part of eternity. You're not needing to jump through hoops. What you're needing to do is use your free will. And I'm breaking the prime directive by telling you that, really. I mean, because the point of being here is to forget it. So here I'm coming in and telling you how the end of the movie, how the movie ends. So that's one thing. That's the first part of this that you really need to understand. So I started writing a book back in the 80s. Like I said, my abduction started back in, really weird in the 80s, and I didn't have really anybody to talk to about it, so I just started putting thoughts on paper. And it kind of evolved into an attempt to tie science and religion together. Well, after 30 something years of working on this, I did come to the conclusion that both are wrong. Science and religion are wrong. Creator's not mad at us. This universe that we're in is kind of a pulsing device. It just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating, and we can come to it over and over and over again for a brand new experience. It didn't just begin 13 billion years ago. You got to think about time frames like this, that let's say that we're now celebrating the 410th quintillionth, the 410 quintillionth pulse of the universe, and that each pulse lasts for 13 trillion years. Okay, just numbers like that. That's closer to the truth than this all started 13 billion years ago and we've just slowly evolved out of this and this is the first time it's ever happened. It's not true. It's been going on. You can't measure how long it's been going on. So I've been trying to tie science and religion together, and I've come to the conclusion that they're both wrong. We are thought beings. We are in physical forms that translate our environment to us. It turns it into thought. I'm telling you that we have been every creature that we've ever found on this planet. We were the dinosaurs. I'm telling you that if you were in a dolphin body, that you would think it was perfectly normal to be a dolphin. The only reason you think it's perfectly normal to be a human right now is because this body is translating that information to you. It makes you think that. Okay, so in our the Bible I was raised Baptist, okay, and I've read the Bible. I know it fairly well, and it has a lot of good information in it. I like to describe religion as a beautiful cupcake. Oh, this is the best cupcake you've ever seen. It's got sprinkles, it's got your favorite icing on top, but it's got a turd in the center of it. Okay, religion is a cupcake with a turd filling, because it just um, it takes good information and hijacks it with a story that puts other people in power. And we'll go back and talk about that in a minute. But it's basically the situation we find ourselves in right now. You need to trace it back through time. And who are the ones who's been telling us that the Creator's mad at us for some reason, trying to convince us that one of them was the creator of the universe? Okay, so that's probably, if you just kind of run down that rabbit hole right there, you'll find out who created this problem. Okay, so heaven is, if we are thought beings, then heaven truly is a state of mind. So I feel that the universe is letting me tell you this now because it sees us having a bad dream. I mean, we're about to come out of a very bad dream. We everything that's been happening in our country has been a lie for like the last 100 years. We've been living a lie. That's my entire life. So what is the truth? What am I getting at here? What's the truth of why we're here? Well, it goes back to free will. Okay, now not using let's just get rid of every bit of dogma, every book you've ever read, anything like that, and let's just look at what we can absolutely confirm. Okay, we can confirm that we're all here, right? Okay, here we are. We're all here. Here I am. Okay, I'm a real person. I'm in this place, and I'm made of atoms. Oh, by the way, this is my very first UFO shirt. Just show you, I was part of the UFO thing for quite a while. This is the 5th annual Arvil'sArk UFO conference. I live in Oklahoma City. It's always in Arkansas. Went to it for a long time. Met John Mack there. First time I went to this conference, I think this is the one John Mack was at. It was an honor to meet him. He was a very, very brilliant man. Okay, back to the story. So to prove to you that free will is all that the Creator is concerned with, let's just look at who we are. Okay, we're in these bodies, and these bodies are made of atoms. Okay, let's go back to this for a second. These bodies are made of atoms. If and what was the story in the Bible? In the beginning, God created Adam and Eve. Maybe that was atoms and ether. Maybe that's what the original thing said, but the people who hijacked the old Sumerian text, I mean, basically, we're in a situation where there was a massive earth change. You read it. Everybody knows about Atlantis, that it went under the sea. There was a massive earth change sometime in our past. Okay, which wrecked, it wrecked our remembrance of the past. Okay, well, there were groups of people that decided, oh, wait a minute, maybe I'll just take the old stories, we remember them, maybe we'll just hang on to those and we'll write ourselves in all the starring roles. Okay, so maybe that's what we'll do here. Well, that's kind of why we're in the situation right here. But that's not what I'm wanting to do. I'm not wanting to dog anybody, but that is part of the problem. Okay, so what we know, that everything here is made of atoms and ether. Okay, atoms being the paint, the clay of the universe, and ether being the canvas. Okay, atoms being the thought, the universe being the place where thought is injected into. Okay, are you with me? So just thinking about those two things. We're here. We know that everything around us is made of smaller and smaller particles, and that we're in a great big expanse of something, and yet um, what's different? Okay, so what's different about us? Let me find my other. If everything is made of atoms, I'm missing some slides. Everything is made of atoms. Everything. Trees, rocks, plastic, concrete, everything's made of atoms. But certain atom creations can move around in this menagerie of atoms. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are atoms. Your body is made of atoms. Everything around you is made of atoms, but for some reason you have this free will ability to move your atom creation around in this menagerie of atoms. Okay, now think about that. If if you were on Mars, or let's look at it this way. If you were creating little Play-Doh guys, and you're making all these little balls of Play-Doh, and you made them into different shapes. Okay, and they're all made out of the same thing, right? These characters are shaped differently, but they're all made of clay. Okay, everything else around you and you are made of atoms, but if you were making these and all of a sudden some of these guys just of their own free will started moving around, you would look at them and go, hey, there's something different about this collection of atoms. Okay, so that is your free will. That is what the creator of the universe made everything out of the same thing, but the clay he made you out of, the dirt of the earth that he made you out of, well, you have this free will ability to move your figure around. Okay? So that right there, your free will ability to move around in this environment, and I want you to know that I said this, your free will ability to move yourself around in this environment is your connection to the Creator. That's all you need to know about the Creator. He put you here, He gave you free will, and He gave you the ability to move around. Okay? There is no good or bad. There's no rules on this. Now we make rules. Now we come here and this is our little classroom or our romper room, our place we play, and there's always someone that starts making up rules. Okay? There's all these things in here. You can do pretty much whatever you want to with them, but someone is going to come along and say, "Oh, we got to do it like this. This is the rules. We got to do this." But no. You decide what's right and wrong. Okay? Religion is an attempt. Okay, just let's step back several quadrillion years ago. Okay, let's say when we first, picture the universe as the apple hanging on the tree in the Garden of Eden that, we all took a bite out of. Picture taking that bite out of the apple is the same thing as projecting yourself into this universe here. You become subject to the laws of right and wrong. Well, that's what religion teaches. But what happened is the first ones here, when they weren't in the and then, okay, think about the universe as this. The universe is a mirrored ball that has this dark expanse on the inside. That's where we're at now. And it's mirrored because, there wouldn't be a question if there was a creator or not, because you would see him or you would see that energy no matter what. So think of the universe as a mirrored ball that blocks out the light of the creator. And also, and kind of like this, it blocks out the gaze of the creator. All right. So Um, what happened is that, and this is what happened to these Illuminati characters. These guys are all fixed. They started worshiping Satan and just going as far wrong as they possibly could, because when they first got here, they found out that, hey, nothing happens. I can do anything, and there isn't the gaze of the creator on you. And just by looking at the creator, when we lived in heaven, when we lived on the other side of the universe, the other side of the mirrored ball, which is the universe, you can always see the creator. You can always tell exactly what he's thinking. Not in here. Not in here. You got free will, and you decide what you're going to do. Okay, so religion was created out of fear. The first thing these evil guys did, what started them down the path of evil was discovering that, hey, nothing happens. When you kill children and drink their blood and torture them, nothing happens. It's messed up. They're finding out that, yeah, eventually something does happen. You only get away with it for so long. That's a crock of anyway. But so out of fear of what might happen to them, they knew they could get away with stuff and nothing would happen. But out of fear that something might happen to them, they created religion. And that's really, it's kind of a don't do what I do, do as I say type of thing, where they keep people under their control. That's basically the whole purpose of religion quadrillions of years ago. In this particular classroom, this particular time, there's a little bit different, so I'll explain that more later. So you have free will, okay? You can move your atom of creation around in this menagerie of atoms. That is your true connection to the creator. And it didn't come with any more rules than that. Live, enjoy eternity. That's about the extent of the rules. Along the line, we make our own rules. We make up stuff, and they have changed so many times over time. Today, what is right and wrong today was fashionable in other times. Okay, so we're made of atoms. It's been placed in a place of ether, and suddenly we move our atom creations around. Okay, so today, what they're trying to do, this last bit of us, we purposely created bodies this way so as spirits we could express the nature of these bodies. I mean, they were made this way because that's one of the prime things we're supposed to be doing here is loving one another. Okay, today, anything sexual, anything that shows love is being turned into something bad. It's being turned into harassment. What when you say the word sexual, what comes up behind it now? If you've listened to the news any in the last 2 months, harassment. This is more deep state bullshit, guys. They have tried to divide us every single way, and now they're trying to divide us. Divide men and women. Okay, you're here specifically to love someone else, to love other spirits. There is such thing as soulmates. There's other entities that you've traveled with hundreds of times, and then when you run into them, that's a good thing. Okay, so don't let religion, which is false and based on a control system to keep you from doing to them what they do to you the whole time you're here. Okay, that's what religion is. The creator is very simple. He put you here, he gave you free will, he said live. If you turn live around, what is it? It makes evil. So that's religion has made evil because they're basically turning you away from the prime directive. Now, there is a lot to cover. Okay, and I am super simplifying. It is much more complicated than what I'm drawing it out here, but I'm trying to break things down to the simplest, easiest way to understand. Okay, so in the Bible, you know, God created Adam and Eve. Okay, and what did he do first of all? He put them in a Garden of Eden where there were many, many different types of things that got up and moved around. Okay, so right there, and this is the aliens part of this. They created this planet, and they're okay. And I need to back up some. There are definitely two very separate things going on here. There is the there is the physical part of why you're here. Okay, so there's lots of physical things. Go to work, have dinner, have a family, make a house, play teacher, all the things we like to do while we're here. But then there is this part of why we're here too. Okay? There's a duality there. They're always talking about the one eating the other, the 23 chromosomes, and how they're, the who's a Jonathan Kleck, who's always drawing these comparisons. Well, there is. I mean, there is. There's the physical reason you're here. There's the spiritual reason you're here. But the creator of the universe isn't mad at you at all. But okay, so now let's talk about the physical part of it. Let's just get off of that get off the spirit side for a second, and let's just talk about where in the book that we're at currently. Some 200,000 years ago, these guys, the Anunnaki, came through this solar system, and then you got to understand who these guys are, the Anunnaki, these aliens, who were basically responsible for changing this into this, and they did it through DNA manipulation. But think about the Anunnaki. Any place in the Bible it says God or angels, it's talking about aliens. So if you want to learn to read the Bible correctly, just every time it says God, think alien, because that's what it's talking about. And also, when you think of Anunnaki, think about Australia was a penal colony for the British. They kind of put all their bad guys in Australia back in whatever it was, 1700s, 1800s. Now, so imagine that those guys just kept being so bad that we, through our technology, grabbed Australia off the face of the planet and we slung it through the universe. Actually, what we did is we put it in orbit around a brown dwarf and sent it towards another star. Okay, when you look at the universe, there's a big asteroid belt. You've got planets that are turned up on its side. What has happened is when Nibiru came through here the first time, one of the moons around Nibiru smashed into Tiamat, I think it's what they called it. It was the planet where the asteroid belt is, and kind of pool balled it into a closer orbit, but left the scattered, and then they moved a lot of the stuff out there to create the asteroid belt, just to keep it out of the inner part of the solar system, so it wouldn't wreck their little creation. The moon is a totally foreign body. I have been on the moon. When I lost 30 pounds, and I got my video player working, so I've got some video of that, which I'll put in the next video. But I was on the moon. It is covered on the backside with buildings, with all kinds of stuff. I mean, the backside of the moon is covered. So it was left here to stabilize this planet and also drop off, all these animals and everything that they put in the Garden of Eden to confuse us. They were really put here to confuse us. Okay, so what am I getting at here? So we have an alien penal colony. It's a little system of a brown dwarf with a planet that's actually it's covered in gold. And that's what they had us doing. That was part of their main why they created us, was to mine and dig and work for them. And they trained us to work and they built us to work. And that's why we still think we should be working every day, that you should be working for a living. There are so many other things you could be doing with your life. But that's what they bred into us hundreds of thousands of years ago, and have slowly, manipulated that to what we have today. So we have this penal colony. Now, these guys were thrown out of Sirius. If you look at this, if you find Orion in the sky right now, you'll see Sirius is a real bright star to the south of it. That's where these guys were thrown from. Okay, now think about this. So we have guys that, were probably the scum of their planet, of their universe. Okay, imagine whatever Australia was in that day. We've picked it up and we've thrown it off the Earth to another star. Same thing. That's all that's going on with Nibiru. And somehow it ended up here. So, they started manipulating the life here. Now, why? Okay, why ultimately was, surely it wasn't just to dig up gold. Surely it wasn't to, every megalithic structure that's on this planet was created by an alien race. The Egyptians didn't build the pyramids. They didn't build anything that's attributed to them. These are all alien structures. But the purpose of this manipulation and putting animals and other things that moved around was to numb our and this is the physical part of the story. This is, the chapter that we're in this book, in this particular pulse of the universe, which is about 13 billion years old. Whatever, time is kind of ridiculous to even keep track of it like that. But was to numb our spirit remembrance of who we are. If all we had around us was inanimate objects, the fact that we can move around would stand out like a sore thumb. So putting us in a Garden of Eden wasn't, so everything would be nice and special. It was to keep you from remembering who you are. So why do they want to do that? Why in this particular chapter of this book that we're playing out, over the quintillions of pulses that we've had in the past, why is this happening here? Okay, so let's just draw some comparisons. First of all, okay, we've been hijacked by kind of a gangster set of aliens. It kind of reminds me of the episode of Star Trek where they show up at that planet where a book about the mobsters in the 30s had totally taken over the way this planet was being run. They were making hits on each other, and they talked about, they talked like the old Chicago gangsters. Okay, well, the way we live right now is basically the same thing. I mean, we think that we're supposed to work every day because that's what these guys told us that we were supposed to do. And worship, that's what worship was. Worship was work. You shall worship your God, no other. And there may have been several races, think about like car companies, these aliens, but even in the planetary system they were on, it was like Ford, Chevy, and Chrysler all showing up at the same time. They showed up in different parts of the planet, and if you were a that's why there's 5 races. You're marked by colors because of who you worked for at the time. That's basically what it was. You didn't worship another god. You worked for the company that you were made by, that you were genetically created by. So here we are. We're kind of in a skewed a skewed TV show, manipulated by outside forces. We've come here to be in a place where we lose our spirit memory on purpose anyway. So, like I said, this is probably why we're all here. We're here because of that. But the alien, the purpose behind this is what you really need to understand now, and I'm going to try to wrap this up because this video is getting long, and most people only listen to about the first 5 minutes of it anyway. So if you've listened this long, good for you. You were the ears that this was meant for. But okay, so we can move our atom creations around, okay, and other parts of this can't. Inanimate objects can't move around unless you're kind of, going through some mental problems. So what, think of yourself kind of like a battery. If you're this battery that can make this body, can make these particular compounds move around, then that is a pretty special thing. Okay, so the other half of religion, I told you these are interdimensional beings. Your thought is of a higher dimension. Your consciousness is of a higher dimension. That's what allows it to make this body move around. When you leave this body for good, it breaks back down into these elements and then blows away. It turns to dust and blows away because the battery of your consciousness is holding it together, giving it life, and allowing it to move around. Well, these aliens are collecting us like batteries. That's basically what they're doing. And they're using religion to do it because interdimensionally, when you start to leave and you enter this higher dimension, they can intercept you. So religion is telling you, you hear out of body experiences where they're saying, "Oh no, it's not your time yet. You need to go back." That's alien manipulation. They're trying to keep you here, keep you coming back, keep you reincarnating into this particular kind of hillbilly type area of this universe. When you look at what's around us, where we're kind of off in the sticks, living like a bunch of spirit hillbillies with our, murdering each other and wars and everything else that we've decided are good things to do here. And it all stems from alien thoughts. These aliens were prisoners. And what do? We have lawyers all over the place, and we're constantly suing each other, and there's someone in court and someone's going to court. We're just repeating what was taught to us by our, in a way, creators. They created these particular bodies, but without the spirit form that's in them, that creation is all for naught. And they've even doubled and tripled their money because they can take that spirit and reuse it over and over and over again in different bodies. So I'm trying to find a good way to wrap this up, but there's still so much more that I need to talk about. But just for the moment, I just we'll let that be the first part of the lesson. The first thing to think about is that you are a spirit entity. There is no right or wrong, okay? If you, this is probably the important thing I need to tell you. This is probably it right here. And I hope you stay to the end to hear this. If you need to be lured into heaven by this guy with promises of salvation and heavenly, gumdrops and everything that comes from this side. If you need to be lured by this guy, or if you're getting scared into heaven or scared back to the Creator by this guy, you have missed the whole point of free will. He's trying to lead you down the path of righteousness. I'm going to lead you down the path that rocks. Okay, if you have to be lured, if your free will is manipulated by either side of this, you've missed the point. It's your choice until you can do the things you do because it's what you want to do. Until you reach that point, you've missed the point of your own free will. So that's the thought I want to leave you with. You don't need religion. You need to exercise your own free will. and do it because that's what you want to do. If you're lured by this guy with promises of presents, you missed the point. If you're scared by this guy with promises of damnation, you miss the point, because you're doing it because this guy wants you or this guy wants you to do it. You need to do it because it is the desire of your own heart. All right, everybody. That's all I've got for tonight. It's getting kind of late, and I want to just wish all of you, I hope this helped a little bit. I'll probably come back and do a part 2 of this, because there is so much more I didn't talk about. I want to explain how, in another way, this is a holodeck. The universe is a holodeck that, we come to as spirit beings to live out different programs. The problem with us is that we've kind of been hijacked into coming back over and over again by these aliens that are using us. And it's like someone who has gone to a holodeck but decided, well, I'm just going to live in the holodeck. I like it here. If you were on the Starship Enterprise and they said Data was living in the holodeck now, they would think there was something wrong with Data. Well, if you like what's going on, if you're in a heavenly state of mind, this is where you're supposed to be. If not, it's you that has to change it. That's the message I want to close on tonight. I thank everybody for listening. I hope I said something tonight that wakes something up in you. It's because it's your birthright to know this. But if you want to go back to sleep, feel free. You can turn right over and go back to sleep. All right. God bless everybody. God bless America. And still, God bless Donald Trump, because finally this information can come out. Good night, all. Oh, and PSS, I don't ask for money. I'm not asking anybody for money. I feel what I'm telling you is your birthright. This is something that you should know, that you should remember. This is nothing that I'm asking anything for. The only thing I'm asking for is that you share this information with somebody else. If it touched you, maybe it'll touch somebody else. So please share the video. That's the only thing I ask for. Thank you. Good night.